Hello, Scorpio. How's everybody doing today? It's been a while since Apollo joined us at the beginning, so I thought I would allow him to say hello. Still waking up from his dreamy time there. I'm going to put him back down so he can chill out and get some more Z's in the background. Here you go, buddy. Hello, everybody. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Welcome to your monthly reading. Hope that you're doing well. Just a reminder that you can always use these monthly readings for your sun, rising, moon sign, any aspect of your chart that you happen to know. And the way that I design them is so that they can be helpful for the next 6 to 8 weeks. A lot of the messages, particularly in the channeled messages that we'll be looking at in just a moment, can be used for this moment in time. You can see the rest of the format right here. I basically begin with channeled messages, which I get in dreams and meditations. I move along to the Celtic Cross after that. Celtic Cross gives us a more granular view of what's coming through for the month. And then we'll move to the expanded forecast, health, wealth, love, and destiny, the big idea. And then after that, it's more interactive. We'll take a look at some blessings and blocks, and then I usually let you look at something that you'd like. And then we'll move along to the meditation and a final word or final card at the very end. And that is a question that you might have. So if there's something specific, save that. I don't really take questions during the reading, but there's always time at the end for you to meditate on it, and I pull a collective card to answer that. Okay? A couple of notes before I begin. First of all, welcome everybody. Good to have you here. If you would like to show some support for the channel, I can't stress enough how much it helps to hit the like and subscribe button. If you've already subscribed, you only do that once in a lifetime, but I'm always amazed that at least half, sometimes even more than half of the people that watch never subscribe. If we want to keep letting the channel grow and have me do new things like my podcast, I need to see some more work and numbers in that area. So please help me out there if you've never done it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and hit the thumbs up once. It does help a lot. If you'd like to get some reminders on social media, here's all of the platforms that I'm on. It's usually just my name, as you can see in that top row. Twitter is the exception there. And I usually will post snippets of the video. This is something new, so that you can get a little taste of what's coming into that particular month's forecast. If you want to give back one time and show a little bit of support, a great way to do it while I'm live so I can see it is through SuperStickers and SuperChat. On replay, there's also this option called Super Thanks. So all of those work and they're great. You can also go to my website if you prefer something like PayPal. Also on my website, you can get a look at my live forecast. So that is everything in a nutshell. And again, let's get back into today's channeled messages. So give me 1 second to set it up, and then we'll take a look at what's coming through. Okay. So as I was walking my dog yesterday, I was reminded of why I like Southern California winters, and it's because there are just some beautiful flowers that continue to bloom even in the winter, and so I'm very much appreciative of that. One of the things that I saw on my walk was a dandelion. And to me, it's just this beautiful symbol of death and rebirth. It's also going to encompass the energy of a lion, which is interesting, and I'll talk about it when we get into the geeky part, which is the etymology or the sort of origin of the name. So this is actually an old photo that I took, and just beautiful. If you look really close at a dandelion, it's just golden and beautiful, and even when it's kind of dying and reseeding, I still think it's a beautiful plant. So both of these are photos that I just took randomly while I was out and about. When I looked into kind of like why I like this so much, like I said, ends and beginnings are something that you saw with the two previous photographs. I actually think it's kind of a symbol of the phoenix too, even in color, but more on that in a moment here. What I like about it is that those tiny little seeds that we saw right there, they take flight and go into the air, right? And basically, it's a symbol to me of the world and the Fool card. So that's the end, but in the end comes a new beginning, right? So I think what a beautiful metaphor for some of us closing a chapter and for some of us opening a chapter. And you might be somewhere between the two of those, okay? The etymology of the word is from tooth of the lion, dandelion. So, and then it just became a common dandelion. And I never knew that. I've loved this flower for a long time. And that makes it even kind of cooler here, because for those of us that geek out on tarot, like everyone present in the room, it's related to the strength card as well. We'll talk about that more in a second, but let's go into some of the benefits of why this is an amazing flower. It is regarded as a weed, and it can be invasive sometimes, but it also has really positive benefits. So you can eat the whole plant, and it has vitamin A and K and calcium and iron. So if you're a vegetarian, this is a good source of that. Standard disclaimers apply. I'm not a doctor or a vegetarian. I am a vegetarian. I'm not a dietitian. So you do want to sort of talk to your doctor to make sure that this is something that's good for you. But I've included it in my own diet, and I love it. It's usually something that you would put in your salad, but you can also get it in teas, and I'm sure there are other applications if you look around out there. Now let's kind of geek out on how it is associated with what we see here in tarot. So now that we know that it's Tooth of the Lion, and it's kind of interesting, I wanted to pull up the Rider-Waite-Smith card here. Literally, you see her opening up the mouth of the lion and just putting her hands in there, and it's like all the teeth. So this is something where you want to be careful. The Strength card shows that you can do this. You don't necessarily want or need to kind of exert that strength, but it's definitely there. So here we see the woman putting her hand in the mouth of the lion. It can indicate those sharp teeth. It could be sharp words, difficult conversations, or saying something that you can't put back. So it's kind of like Pandora's box. When something is out there, it's out there, right? And we've all had situations where in the heat of the moment, we say something and you kind of are like, for days, weeks, years, you're thinking, why couldn't I have said that a little different? Look at the last paragraph here where I say, just be mindful of what you say. Practice and preparation. That's going to be so essential right now. And I would say, really test out your conversations, your words, your marketing, your messages, all of that stuff on somebody else before going to the intended audience, because that can just be the gut test. So does this feel right? Does it sit right with you? And someone else can say no. You need to restate that. It's too direct, or maybe it's not direct enough, whatever way it may be. Never more did this card make sense than with the dandelion. So the good news is I do feel like there is a coming back for many of you. So even if you put your foot in your mouth, to use another metaphor, I do feel like you'll find a way to figure it out. And you can always kind of like launch again or rise above. Strength, both the card and just the word, it's multifaceted. It can be physical and mental strength. So a lot of times if I get this card in a reading for someone, we'll talk about it depending on if it's upright or upside down. Strength can indicate how you're taking care of yourself. Are you tired? Are you putting a lot of energy and effort into taking care of others or trying to control others? Because that's a part of this too. It can show us that we need to dig deep and find the courage or to say or do what's right, okay? The power struggles that I talked about may present themselves over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Stand your ground. Speaking of grounding, if you ever take a look at a picture of a dandelion, I didn't have time to find this, and I usually don't put images up here that I don't own. So, but it's basically got a tap root on it, which is just kind of like a carrot. That's a good way to sort of visualize it. So sometimes roots kind of go out and they're shallow, or sometimes there's a deep tap root. So this has a deep tap root on it. What's cool about it for the plant anyway, not so much for your home gardening, if it grows in your garden and you just kind of yank it out, but there's a little piece of the taproot that you don't get out, then it's going to come back. It'll just reform and you're going to get a dandelion coming back there again. So it's got a lot of resilience and it can come back. It has like 9 lives. So if you ever have this in your garden, and instead of just throwing it in the trash, go ahead and extract the whole thing and you can use all of it, like I talked about, the greens, the root, the flower, all of that. So it's actually a little gift there and you can use it. But if you really want to make sure that it doesn't spread, do that. And then if you ever see one of those seed pods that we saw at the beginning, you want to be careful because those are going to go everywhere. So, but what I like about it from a plant, and I respect this, just like I like things like thistles and things like that, is its strength and its resilience, which is something that you have. And it's really, really grounded. It's like a root vegetable, basically. So also, like, I don't know why we don't just call it an herb or a vegetable, because it grows in the earth and we can eat it. So it's a very sort of persistent thing, but weed is sometimes perspective. Yes, it can be invasive, but so can a lot of other plants too. The grounding symbolism is a reminder to ground yourself on purpose or vision and stay true to it. It's time to fight that fight. Particularly with this particular plant, I just feel good about something that you believe in, but you got to believe in it, and other people have to see that you're willing to kind of dig your feet into it, right? And this sort of inclusive energy, this is going to be different. So we're moving away from the dandelion for a second, and now some messages that came through dreams for me. So I see a lot of energy around higher education for many of you, and also kind of like trying to break into a new group or a new area. So let's start with the sort of inclusive messages that came through in dreams and meditations last night. Basically, it felt to me like high school or primary school or elementary school, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if this is true in every country, but a lot of times you're just thrown in a lunchroom and you don't know everyone there. And there's groups that sit together. And sometimes they're welcoming and sometimes they're not. And if you're a couple of times in my life, I've had to be like the new kid because of a move or something. So when you're the new kid, it's kind of scary, right? Because nobody knows who you are. You may not dress or talk like everybody else does. And you feel like you're an outsider, right? And so that's what I was kind of flashing back to. And basically, you want to do your best to include new people, new points of view. A lot of times in companies, in families, and in circles of friends, we get used to a particular way. And when someone comes in and it's a little different, maybe it feels weird, maybe it's threatening, but that person might also be trying to just figure out, where do I fit? So if you can include someone in and allow for a new point of view, I think it would be really great. If you're not being included, we're going to go back into our dandelion energy, and this is your chance to fight for that inclusion. And if you can't find it where you're at, go somewhere else, because again, what I'm seeing with the idea and the energy and who you are, you have something amazing to offer. So you deserve to be listened to. And we've all been at, particularly when it comes to work and we can decide to leave or to stay with something like that, we've all been at places where someone doesn't listen to us or respect us. So sort of like, why am I doing this? Why am I putting all my energy in this if you're not going to take me seriously? So that is that piece. The next one, and this is really powerful, when it comes to manifestation, if you're just hoping, but you're not asking and also acting on that wish, then it's kind of difficult for you to receive. So think of a genie in a bottle waiting for some sort of a cue from you. The universe is sometimes like that. What do you want? What are you trying to do? How ready are you? Are you overly interested in this? There's always this sort of like gauging energy or testing energy or listening energy. So what's really important for you is to figure out what it is that you want, and then also getting very clear on that. Clear in that you can do it, clear that you want it, clear in what it will look and feel and sound like when you get it. So take some time to dream and ask for those dreams to come true. So the universe is waiting, it's ready, and it's kind of up to you to sort of like take it from here. So that is everything there with the channel messages. And I really liked the flower and the symbolism that came through with that today. I hope you did as well. And yeah, I'm looking at some of the comments here. What we want to avoid is, there are a couple of other things when I'm thinking of that sort of lunchroom table image, which can be not just a clique, but sometimes groupthink, which is a fancy word for everybody doing something because of peer pressure and because it's been the way it's always done. And there's sort of this pressure to keep doing it in that same way. So it can also be stagnation of thought and stagnation just even of group dynamics. So there's a chance to shake it up. In school, teachers a lot of times would sometimes like just force interactions and say, you're assigned to this group and you're assigned to this group. And I think that oftentimes that's really helpful because we have to go to that next sort of level, right? So anyway, that's the messages with respect to that. Okay, let's go ahead now and pick a deck of cards here. I was called this morning to kind of look at the sun and moon deck. So if I can find it real quick, I'll do it. If not, I'm going to throw a couple other ones out here to vote on. But that's the one that called to me. So 1 second. And it just was coming to me as here we go. Where we go. So I think we're going to use this deck. It's a really beautiful, just a really nice deck today. And I feel like it would be nice. We just kind of got through a full moon. And I feel like this would be really wonderful for today's energy. So give me a moment to, I'm sorry I left my desktop up there for a moment. I enjoyed that, but yes, I had preview mode on here, and hopefully you could see all of the other cards. Sometimes I have to remind myself to come out of the preview mode. All right, so we are getting into, we just went through the channeled messages. We're going to move on to the Celtic Cross. The Celtic Cross is going to identify sort of the deeper opportunities available to you. All right, so let me go ahead and turn this down towards the desk and get this out of the way, and we're going to see what's coming through. So just give me a moment or two to get everything set up here. Got that nice rebirth energy coming through there, which is lovely. Coming through in the environment as well. Again, for those who just joined, we're going to be looking at Scorpio, Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus, any aspect of your chart that you may happen to know. All right, let's make a little room for all of this, and let's get talking. All right, so first of all, we're going to begin with your Catalyst card here, which is this beautiful Lord Ganesh card that shows cultivation. And isn't that cool that we were talking about a plant totem today? And then we've got something here which is about taking time to cultivate, to grow something. So if you are focusing on wondering like why isn't it taking off? Why, I put this out there, I asked the universe, hey, Nicholas, you told me I needed to just ask the universe for something. Well, it's a little more involved than that. So step one is just like that genie in the bottle. You're saying, this is my wish, this is my desire. Step two is saying, I'm an active participant in that wish, in that desire, and this is what I'm going to do about it. It's like the Three of Wands deciding to meet something at the shore, not just standing up on the cliff waiting for it to come to you. So are you ready to take that next active role? Are you ready to cultivate and feed and nourish and sometimes even prune the dream a little bit, like say, okay, this was a little too far, but I can definitely push it here, and know when to kind of give and take. Because if you don't invest, the universe is fickle in that respect. It's sort of like you're not really interested in this, you're not putting energy into it. We're gonna focus on something else. So definitely show your interest and cultivate and work on this. So again, we just looked at the Catalyst card if you just joined, and the Catalyst card is a way for you to really connect to opportunity. But it is sort of asking you, are you ready for this? Do you want this? Kind of like, where do you stand on this? So that's basically what we see with that particular energy. We're going to move into the center right now and take a look at, for many of you, what could be defining this moment in time? What could be holding you back? We have the Five of Pentacles card, and if you look at the caption here, or it's really above, it says worry. And a lot of times this worry or this sense of, this fear of, am I good enough, comes from the past. So many of you are kind of dealing with ghosts of the past. It could be what I was flashing back to. It could be something from school, from childhood, from your parents, from someone that you normally would trust in your life, but just wasn't there to support you. You felt like the outsider. Then the good news with the Five of Pentacles is help, opportunity, support. It's always there. This card always is in front of a sanctuary of some sort, whether it's a church, a mosque, a temple, it doesn't matter. It's a safe haven. And there's usually another person in there, but the challenge in this card is that both parties, for some reason, aren't looking in the right place. They're looking in opposite directions. So I think that for many of you, this is a chance for you to look around and think, I'm not that person anymore. Like, none of us are who we were when we were in school. Most of us aren't the same person that we were like 2 or 3 years ago, much less 2 or 3 decades ago. So this is a chance for you to really kind of like just shed that old skin, to use a metaphor of like a snake. If the snake doesn't shed its skin, it can't grow. So we have to let go of the past. And each of us is going to do that in a different way. It's not about forgetting. It might be just about reframing an experience and thinking, well, that taught me like who I want to be. Like I wasn't that person, but if I could go back and do something differently, I would do it different. Like this is what I would do differently. So just deciding that you can't affect the past you, but you can affect the future you by what you do now. So that's the important thing. Don't sell yourself short. Don't allow people to underpay, underappreciate either. Five of Pentacles often comes when we feel like I'd like to ask for more, but I don't know if I'm worth that. You are worth it, without a doubt. So we're going to look now at the card that's crossing that, which is the Ace of Swords. And so the Ace of Swords card here is basically going to give you a chance to just to focus on saying what you need to say. So this card is crossing the Five of Pentacles, and with the sort of crossing energy here, it's saying that the way to get out of Five of Pentacles is to speak your mind, is to speak up. Okay, so this is a chance for you really to get it out there. Whatever you need to say, this is your chance to really be that person and say what you need to say. Okay. The other thing here is if there's someone in your life that just wasn't there for you and you need to kind of like rectify this. Maybe it was mom or dad, maybe it was a teacher, maybe there's just someone where you think, you know, this was okay before, but it's not okay now. Well, this is your chance to sort of go back. You can say, I'm sorry if it was you that did that to someone else. And if you need something and you're tired of kind of like waiting, hoping, wishing for them to kind of like come around, then you can ask for this too and say, this is something that I need now. Even if and when people are intuitive, it doesn't mean that they're always picking up on what they should be paying attention to. So a lot of times people are just kind of in their own worlds and they need that wake up call. Okay. So I hope that you give yourself the credit and the time to deserve that. And again, understand that we're okay. You're going to be okay. The opportunity is a lot closer than you think. When I look at your deep past here, we have Three of Wands in the deep past. Let's pull this card upright. This is what I was talking about to get off that hill. This card was reversed though. So the Three of Wands can sometimes show that you're too focused on the timing. You're too focused on the arrival. And part of manifestation also involves being at peace with, I can take it or I can leave it, but I'd rather take it, and I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that it comes into my life. If you focus so much on, I said this was going to happen now, I've missed that by a few weeks, and now I'm behind, and now I'm trying to catch up, and everyone else is doing this, and you're kind of like solely focused on the rigid structure of what you were trying to do, then you lose track with the fact that it's still happening, even if it's a little later than you thought. And maybe you're juggling too many opportunities, too many things. So pick something where you can really see growth. The cool thing with wands is you can kind of go up and down the scale of cards, and it's going to be positive in either direction. So whether you take that Two of Wands and really embrace it and start to see it, and then it happens and it's three, or you go back to the Ace and go back to the drawing board and say, I want to firm this up a little bit. It doesn't matter. Either direction's good. Wands is a very fun suit to be in versus swords, for instance. So almost all of them have positive connotations, pretty much. There's some opportunities across this, but what I'm seeing here in the past is that you're on the precipice of something new. Literally, we see someone on the edge of something new here, okay? And something exciting. And I think that one thing that's important for you, I was looking at comments for a second. If I want to kind of challenge you, this could be sort of like a meditation thing that you can do. So someone just said, is anyone having a hard month? Again, we're looking at February right now, so don't even put that into February. What if you started to manifest, what if today's better? What if tomorrow's even better than that? What if you stopped thinking of this as a bad month and started thinking a bit that your luck is about to change? And I know that sounds simple, but it's actually really powerful. I treat each day, each moment as a new opportunity. Well, that didn't go the way I wanted, but this will. So that's what you want to start to do, because you're actually starting to manifest difficulty. So it's not there. It's not in the cards. And when I look in the environment, especially in February, we're focusing on the future and what you can manage. It's good. We've got death and rebirth. That's saying an end to the old and something better, something new, something different, okay? So change the tape in your head, and we're looking at possibilities and empowerment. That's why you're not going to hear me speak from a fear-based mentality whenever I do any reading for anybody. You're always in control. You can always make it better. You can always reframe it. So I just wanted to pause there and kind of help everybody. If one person is feeling it, maybe everyone else is. So even if it's difficult now, that doesn't mean tomorrow and the next day and the next week and the next month is going to be that way. Each day is its own story. It really is. It's like a new chapter every day. So read it with a fresh set of eyes, not with fatigue, not with expectations, and not with baggage. Okay, so that was actually a nice kind of energy that reminds us of what we were seeing here at the center with the Five of Pentacles, speaking up or even thinking differently, elevating the way that thought is or feels, and then moving on to the fact that things are already moving in a better direction if you're willing to see it, okay? Let's go ahead now and look at what's coming through in your recent past here. We have the Empress card, and I really like this. Notice the symbol of fertility on the bottom. Sometimes people ask me, like, why are rabbits a symbol of fertility? Because they multiply quickly. So if you see a rabbit on that card, that's usually what it's indicating. The other thing, these are slightly smaller, so I'm doing my glasses as I just look at this. Okay, I like the other things that I'm looking at here. We see lovely symbols of rebirth here with all the butterflies, and also kind of like a symbol of power there that she's holding as well. So the Empress card. The Empress is all about cultivation, which we saw with Lord Ganesh here, which is the key to getting past some sort of a block in your life. So it is time to decide, what is it that I want to create? What is it that I want to really see movement in? And I'm going to take that on as if it were a sort of symbolic child. I'm going to nurture it. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to continue to invest in it. This is where my focus is going to be. So if you do that, you're going to see some positive traction. The Empress card can also indicate that sort of tug of war energy that we were talking about earlier with the Strength card, right? So some of you might be kind of going through points in your life where you just feel like, why does this person always kind of like getting the better of me? How do I get seen or heard in this? It is about you just sort of finding that inner metal, that inner energy of like, hey, I deserve a seat at this table, and making sure that you do kind of fight for that. Because the Empress card demands to be heard and listened to and supported, right? So anyway, I love that this is in your recent past. And if you're watching it in February, this is just saying that you're off to a good start. If you're watching it live in January, this is the energy you should be focusing on right now. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to take charge. I'm going to ask for what I want. I'm going to also see movement in all of the aforementioned things. I'm going to start to see things shifting, a paradigm shift. All right, so let's go to your crowning position. For me, this indicates where your mind can be going, where your focus should be in this moment in time. We have the Princess of Cups here, and basically Princess is a page card. The page card is an opportunity for you to receive, not just to give. So if the universe is offering something to you, are you ready to receive? Are you ready for what it has to bring in? Because that's part of the sort of important equation that often gets overlooked. So if you're looking for love, by the way, this card portends positive movement. Or if you're looking to see, can I improve my current relationship status? If I'm with someone, can we make it a little bit better? Absolutely. There is a playful energy as we're looking at the dolphin here, and I just used this particular animal for a totem. So intelligence and playful energy are all kind of intrinsic to that as well. So be smart and also have some fun with your friends and with those that you love. It gives you a chance to go much deeper. There could be a water sign coming into your life as well. So another water sign coming in. So embrace that if you're willing or ready to. That can also just be an aspect of you saying, hey, I'm really feeling like myself. So when you are, enjoy it and get out there and socialize, because other people will be attracted to that authenticity. It's a very creative energy as well. So for some of you that are in, like if you're a writer, if you're anybody that sort of develops things, even like someone that's an engineer, this is a really good time to go after that sort of creative vibe that you're feeling right now. It's not just your imagination, you're onto something, okay? So the next thing that we're going to look at here is the near future, which is Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is a cool card because it gives you a chance to really make your way through something, even if it's challenging. So since the card is upright, the positive aspects of this card include the fact that you can get through a difficult room, a difficult conversation, a difficult part in your life by the sheer sort of willpower, just saying, I'm pushing my way through. This is going to get done. Move aside. I got things to do. So I really love that sort of go-getter energy. The only thing that I would say sometimes with Seven of Wands is there's an opportunity to work much more intelligently because sometimes there's a lot of fatigue, a lot of effort, a lot of energy. There are points where that makes sense, where it's sort of like that last leg of the journey and you just think, if I can get through this, we're all done, it's good. But sometimes we just keep doing more than we need to, and we start to kind of burn the candle at both ends and burn out. So this particular card is an encouragement to push back and say, no, I'm not going to do this one today, or this doesn't make a lot of sense, or why are we doing this? So there is a what's the best word? A discerning energy that is part of that Seven of Wands, where you can push back, you can negotiate, you can say, why are we doing this? You can ask all of those questions and put the onus and the pressure on someone else to answer it for a second before you just keep spinning those wheels, because sometimes you can spin the wheels in the mud and you're not going anywhere. All right, let's take a look at how you're showing up right now. When we look at your soul space, we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. I like that you got both aces though, speaking of Ace of Swords. So the Ace of Swords was crossing the center, which is saying communication and action are a key to overcoming this limitation that we saw with resources and worth and all of that. So once you start to do that, then you start to open yourself up for new ideas. That idea, as you can see here, is going to bring you the energy of death and rebirth, which is shifting and moving. So let's look at this card in depth a little bit. So the Ace of Wands in reverse. There's a couple things that are even independent of the sort of development of your thought process that I want to talk about. First and foremost, are you waking up in the morning and feeling the sort of like desire and inspiration to get up and do what's on your mind and what's in your heart and your soul? This is vitality. So how inspired, how alive, how excited are you feeling right now? You should be feeling it if you're not. If something's coming through, then what's the block? What's blocking this spark? Because if you let that spark go into the right sort of direction, then just like an Olympic person that's carrying this torch, you can that will catch on. You can give that to someone else. They're going to say, yeah, I like it. Let's pass this on to the next person. So there's that sort of viral energy and the best possible way of something catching on. So I like the potential of where your ideas can go. I like the potential of where your efforts can lead you. But if the vitality, if the spark is missing, then that sort of energy can't go to the next person. So the vitality we'll look at health in a moment, but the vitality could be coming from stress. I'm going to even look at it right now. So it's take a step back here. So for some of you, you might be too much in the weeds of something and you need perspective. That lack of vitality could be because you're not getting enough sleep. You watched one too many shows on Netflix. You talked on the phone too late. You stayed out too late with a friend or something. So take care of yourself. The vitality could also be missing because you're just not feeling what you're doing. And that could be because you're working in a job that you don't like. You're in a relationship where the spark is missing. You are studying a subject that doesn't feel right to you. Particularly with that, raise your hand and ask for some guidance, because that was the one thing that I wanted to focus on that final card when I was going through the all of the channel messages. It's so important because I saw help. I saw a solution. I saw someone that say, maybe it's not me, but I know who you need to talk to. So the vitality is the missing link, but once you get past that, the great idea, the potential for that idea to catch on, all of that is absolutely part of this and is your divine right to kind of succeed and enjoy and take that to the next level, okay? So looking at where things are going in the environment around you, we have this death and rebirth card, which is an opportunity for you to kind of either start or stop, but you're not stuck. This is showing that even when something completes, something else is on the horizon. So as long as you're looking, as long as you're awake, as long as you're ready, willing, and able to imagine something else, well, the universe says, great, here's another option. So let go of what was and look for something new. That's also what's kind of missing in this Three of Wands. I love it, but this Three of Wands is multitasking to the point that it's missing the whole point of the Three of Wands. So I'd be curious to talk to the illustrator of this, because typically in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you would have someone on that cliff looking at the horizon, fixated on the incoming ships. I identify the opportunity. It's coming. I'm ready. I'm preparing. In this one, they're very busy, but they might be missing an opportunity. So I think it is important for you to kind of like take a step back, like we saw with the health card, and make sure that you're grounding yourself and not missing this rebirth, this phoenix rising from the ashes here. So the death and the rebirth is definitely saying that you're not stuck. This isn't the final thing. This isn't a full stop. This is a semicolon, right? It's a pause between two different things. Same sort of energy. You can continue it if you want to. You can make it a full stop if you want, but there's another sentence after this, taking the metaphor further than it needs to be, but you understand what I'm saying. It's not it. This isn't the final page. You may have had a close brush with death or disappointment, because sometimes the death card can show us what we have to lose so that we appreciate what we have. And maybe it wasn't taken away, but now you understand it and you're going to face things differently. So if it's a wake-up call, good, wake up. There's a lot to be grateful of. And if there was something that went on where you lost it, it's not the end. There's something else, okay? So no matter how you slice that card, it's pretty good. Moving along to the next card here, we have In Hopes and Fears, the lovely Six of Cups, which is such a great energy to come through, again, in any part of the spread. But when we look at opportunities, if you're looking for love this month, this bodes pretty well. If you're looking for business partnerships and opportunities, also very positive. If you're just hoping to reconnect or do some healing like we saw here with the Five of Pentacles, let's say that you had a conversation that went in the wrong direction with a friend. It doesn't have to be with family members, and it doesn't have to be from your deep past. Well, this is a chance for the two of you to look around and basically say, I still care, I'm sorry, and let's rebuild. And it may not be about going to what you had before. So a lot of times when there's an argument, a separation, what is the other word, an estrangement, it's not about getting back to what was. It's about building something stronger. Building after the tower, right? We don't have the tower here, but it's like the elephant in the room. So it's basically, hey, something kind of crumbled. What are we going to do now? Are we going to let it stay in that place of disrepair, or are we going to build it up? Okay. Let's go on to your final card here, which is really good. We've got a lot of great energy around relationships this month because we have Page of Cups and Knight of Cups. I like that they're very close in rank. When we're looking at the court cards, we want to have like a king and a queen or a knight and a page. That looks good. I also like that we have the Six of Cups here, which is just friends and deep karmic energy in a positive sort of direction. So let's talk about this. All right. So for the King of Cups, I'm sorry, it's I thought it was knight. It's king. Put those glasses on, Nicholas. Let's talk about this. So the King of Cups in reverse. I'm going to revise what I said with the page. There's still great receptivity. Page is very receptive. But there could be either an experience difference or delta, or there could be this sort of feeling of not being worth enough, which goes back to the center card. So King of Cups reverse, if we look at it from a psychological and an emotional standpoint, it's saying, I need to take care of myself. I'm feeling a little bit sort of like empty, or I'm feeling a little bit fatigued, which also supports what we saw with the Ace of Wands. So if you're fatigued emotionally, it's probably coming from the head or the heart. So either your relationships are just stressing you out, you're doing a lot of giving and not getting a lot of receiving in return, or you are just exhausted and you need to sort of like do that reset. And we're going to look at the health card, but it did say to kind of get some perspective. So definitely give yourself a chance to get perspective. Realize that there's a lot of help around you. It might just be a matter of asking for the health, okay? Speaking of the maturity gap, which we're going to go into relationships in just a moment, but if we take a look at the top two cards here, so we have a page and a king, not a knight. With these two, I would say there's a lot of commonality, but one person needs a lot more than the other. So if you're in a relationship where there's a ton of sort of like taking, or if you're in a place where you just need a lot more and the other person isn't giving what you need, again, we go back to the sort of communicating energy that we see with the Ace of Swords. You got to get back to expressing this is good or this isn't enough. Once you do that, I think that things will start to come into more of an equilibrium, more focus, okay? So overall, I like what I'm seeing, and we definitely see the ability to cultivate, to change, to move for the better, and I think that's going to help as well. We're going to now expand the forecast here, and we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So let's go ahead here with the first piece of the expanded forecast, and this is your health card, which is about taking a step back. So taking a step back, for some of you, you just need space. And even though we're looking at health, this can be something that's indicative of like how it's weighing on you energetically. And this can be coming from work, and it can be coming from love. So if you need perspective, if you need some time off or time away, by all means do it. You don't have to kind of continue to take all this stuff and just absorb it like a sponge. Take a step back, ask for some time and space, use some of that vacation if you've been saving it up, and I think that's going to be the best thing across the board for you. We see someone here stretching and walking. I think that's a great way to start things moving in your life, figuratively. Standard disclaimers apply on this. I am not a doctor. If you need to see a doctor, talk to a doctor. But the important thing here is we're talking about energy and ways that you can kind of move things in the right direction. So I'm looking at gentle movement, like walking, swimming, maybe cycling, just gentle movement, getting things in that right direction. The other thing here, as we look at the rest of the cards on the table, overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing. When we look at the center card, I think this is the one that's going to require the most work. With this center card, with the Five of Pentacles, many of you are in a place right now where, to me, this is usually lower extremities that might require a little bit more time and energy, so a little bit more work. That's why I was talking about the walking that we saw with that card. So circulation in your legs, circulation and also movement around the joints, the knees and the ankles, all of those areas are going to be really, really important. So if you have any pre-existing conditions, talk to your doctor and pay attention to that part of your body. If you're in a part of the world right now where there's inclement weather, this is basically saying be careful because you don't want to trip and fall on something. So Five of Pentacles has to do with getting your grounding and your balance there for sure. Talk about anything that is concerning you, because basically Five of Pentacles crossed by this card, Ace of Swords, is saying speak up, ask. Some of you may be focusing on strength training. Don't overdo it. We don't want to have pulled muscles, slipped discs, etc. If you did have some sort of a setback, there is a chance to rebuild. Remember, it's not about going back to where you were. It's about building the best tomorrow from where you're at. And that's the main thing that I'm seeing here. Stagnation you want to avoid. So sitting too much, doing too much of the same thing, you want to kind of change up the routine. That's going to be really important overall. Okay? Overall, it is pretty positive, I have to say. And once you kind of get into your sweet spot with emotional and creative energy, we do see a lot of movement around love. Okay? Let's go on to the next part of this. So this was the health card, taking a step back, maybe just literally walking. The wealth card here is sacred self, and it says unleash your spirit, express your gifts, dance, which by the way is another thing that you can do to move things, to the sacred rhythm of life. Basically, do your own thing is what we're seeing here with this lovely energy. Also, looking at it, it's we have like a Merkaba right over the throat chakra and the sacred self right there. So this is about speaking up. It is nicely in alignment with the Ace of Swords, which was crossing the center card, which is oftentimes around self-confidence. So when it comes to wealth or work or self-worth, you got to talk it out. Whether it's with a therapist, with a friend, with someone that you care about, so important right now to let that out. And the dance here is really interesting. I use this metaphor sometimes when we're talking about negotiations. Both partners need to take a turn at leading sometimes, right? Sometimes it's your turn, sometimes it's theirs. If they're waiting a little bit or flubbing up, then you kind of step in, but it's a dance. And so relationships and when we're looking in the work perspective kind of rely on that. So with wealth, speak your mind, take turns, and hold up, make sure that work relationship is balanced the way it needs to be. Let's look at some money cards and some resource cards, just kind of focusing on what's on the table here. All right, so moving into the center, the number one thing that we have to pay attention to, because it's your primary resource card, is that you got a Five of Pentacles, which is sometimes selling yourself short or less than. So that needs to be dealt with. If it's self-confidence, there's a lot of different ways that you can approach trying to improve that, but practicing public speaking and just speaking up is going to be super essential. It feels like many of you are ready or willing or desiring to kind of take more of a lead. And so do that. You have what it takes. And you'd be surprised at how you can push through things if in the past you had some sort of a block. This is second chances because it literally is a phoenix here coming through that. So you have the ability to get a second chance at something that you didn't succeed at before, okay? And whomever you might be creating a strong relationship with now, forget about what was. I like what can be here with the Six of Cups. So I feel like your networking skills are off the charts here with the Princess of Cups, basically a page, a six, and a King of Cups. All the energy is around people. So that's why I want you to get that idea and the communication of that into a good place, because then you can tap into the fact that it's already ready to take flight or to basically blossom. So it looks pretty good. Some of you are sick of where you're at though. We got the death rebirth. It either changes or you move on. If we look at this card closely, that's it. There's nothing about this that's scary. It's like, if I'm done, then I'm going to find something better and more worthy of my time and energy, right? And reach out. Talk to some of those friends. I like the energy that I'm seeing here with the Six of Cups. This portends really, really good things, okay? Good. All right, let's move on to love and relationships. So your love and relationship card is Seraphim Gateway. It says voice activation. We've got so many nice synchronicities here. Angelic attunement and divine support. So we'll give it a moment to focus on it. So this one is so nicely aligned with the Sacred Self card because we see the vocal activation right there. And lo and behold, one of the messages was to speak up, right? So when it comes to love, core relationships in your life, it's time to speak your truth. It's time to speak up. It's time to say what you need to say because that's the way to heal. That's the way to bring it to the next level. That's the only way to kind of push through. Let's go ahead now and kind of look at this from a couple of different perspectives. When I look at love, I like to look at three different areas. So it's starting with those that are in a relationship, those that might be looking for love or a relationship, and those that are single and happy. You can also use this to take a look at kind of like more broader reaching things like any core relationship in your life. Just change the color temperature here a little bit so we can see it. All right, so starting with those of you that might be in a relationship, the main thing that we're looking at here is self-confidence with this Five of Pentacles worry card. So one thing that I would say here is don't worry so much because there's really nothing to be gained by that except stress. So the key thing that we're looking at with this is instead of feeling like you're stuck in the past, instead of feeling like you're on the outside looking in, just open up a conversation with someone. You have the power always to just say, hey, we need to talk. Don't use those words though. For many of you, you know that that is not an effective way to kind of start the communication. I would start by saying, hey, I miss you. How about, do you have time tonight to hang out? That's better. Like say, do you have time for dinner? I'd like to order some food in or something like that. Find a way to reconnect and say that you miss them and that you want to talk about something fun, not work. But like just catch up. Don't say we need to talk. Just say, I'd like to hang out. That would be good. And then get the conversation starting. Anything is good, just kind of re-engaging there. Money could be a conversation point for some of you. You could be worried about finances. We can't gloss over the fact that the Five of Pentacles can be sometimes just about, it can just be about money. Sorry, I got distracted by my moderator question. This is the Sun and Moon deck. You can find all of it on my website. She can give you a link to that. All right, so back to the point here, which is that what we really want to be focusing on is talking about money issues if you're afraid of it, talking about self-confidence issues if you need to, saying what you want, what you don't want. That's so important because you matter. Your opinion matters, okay? All right, the other thing that I see here is good movement overall. I do think one partner needs a little bit more because of the disparity between the page and the king here. So for some of you, there's just your different points. One of you is just kind of like maybe going through a lot, right? So if you're going through a lot right now, you might need to kind of lean on someone else and talk to another friend or a counselor. Do what you need to do because the good news here, there's so much to love about where you're at. We've got the Six of Cups in opportunity. So even for those of you that are in a relationship, you can get back to having some fun, to frolicking a little bit, and to building or rebuilding upon what already exists, all right? So looks pretty good overall. There is, however, one sort of fly in the ointment, and that's what's in the environment. There is sort of this, what's the best word? It's almost like you've gotten into a routine, stagnation a little bit, and it's not going where it needs to. So You have to try something different. Try a different approach because it feels like what used to work isn't working now, so you have to get past that stagnation. That was for all of you that are in relationships. Let's take a look if you're trying to find new relationships. The Death card takes on a different perspective for those of you that are single and looking or seeking out a relationship. It can show karmic, old, like past life sort of energy. It can also show lessons that you haven't yet sort of dealt with in the past. So it's just karmic in nature. And then the people that you're calling in tend to have that sort of same lesson that's coming through. So really focus on ending anything that you don't need to be doing in your life and focusing on things that you really should be trying to sort of like focus on. So a change in cycle is what I see here. Good change, it's change for the better. But there is a little bit of stuff that you have to move through from the past. What I see here, again, two cards of karma. The Death and the Rebirth card are definitely associated with karma. So one of the big things that we're seeing here is that if there's anything that you need to, like saying I'm sorry, forgiving a parent, doing something like that, when you clean that up, you bring in a higher partnership that's not going to be like a teacher, basically. So you have a chance to release those teaching relationships and instead bring in just a true partnership, which I like. So much water. So you might, again, there could be another water sign that's coming in. I keep seeing that. That's the primary sort of energy that's presenting itself in future states. No matter what, though, if we just look at the water as a positive thing, it's just showing that I like the potential this month, and you definitely have a chance to bring someone into your life. But make sure that you don't take yourself for granted. I had a friend once that talked about this too. Like, if someone's attracted to you, you're worth it. They're not out of your league. You're not out of their league. Your like attracts like. That wasn't the words that she chose. That's sort of like years later, I understand what she was trying to say. But if you're feeling a lack of confidence about talking to someone, or if you feel kind of like butterflies, but it gets in the way of you talking to them or being with them, remember, they enjoy it. If they agreed to go on a date or spend time with you, they're getting something out of that exchange. So your mantra is, I'm worth it. Like that silly, hair commercial from the 80s, you're worth it. So you're worth that time and energy. They're lucky to have you just like you're lucky to have them, okay? Both sides. So maybe they see something you don't see. Based on the cards here, it does look like you have a lot to offer, and you may be selling yourself short. Let's take a look at those that are single and happy. If you're single and happy, the good news for you is I feel like you have a chance to really tread some new ground here. When we're looking at this Death Rebirth card, there's so much creative energy that's coming in. I don't think you're going to be able to avoid people. You're already in a very sort of attractive energy or magnetic energy. So bring on that sort of energy and allow for opportunity to kind of come in. It's definitely knocking. I think that everybody has a chance to work on self-confidence and self-worth this month, even if you feel like you're totally solid. The one area that maybe it is just asking for what you want, saying no, pushing back, because you feel like I'm strong enough and I'm going to be listened to. There's something this month that you can work on a little bit that's going to help balance the relationships that already exist, because there's a little bit of an imbalance, nothing that troubles me too much, okay? And that's basically it. And even for the person that said single, LOL, we got the Death and Rebirth card. I'm really trying to challenge some of you that are maybe kind of thinking like this is all that it is. It's not. And who cares? Single or partnered or whatever, we see people and we see change coming through. So if you feel like January was hard, February might be better. If you feel like you're single and happy, good, be happy. There's still energy coming in. If you're single and looking, well, change is the name of the game this month. So you have to kind of move with the energy of change. Otherwise, it goes into stagnation. So are you ready for the change? That would be my question to you. If you're not ready for the change, no problem, but you could be missing out on something fun. And because Death and the Six of Cups are connected, whatever that energy of fun is, it's not what it was before. So I actually talked to another sign about this. Not everything comes packaged the way we expect it. So for you, look in a different area, look in a different sort of place that you wouldn't to find those key partnerships, and you might be surprised at what's available to you. All right, I feel like we've talked plenty about love. Let's move on to your final card here, which is Destiny. So we have a discovery energy on this one, which is really cool. And when I'm looking at this here as well, I also see the sort of shield and spear. And to me, this is saying, don't be afraid to fight for what it is that you truly want in your life, okay? So I would say for you, are you ready to go after what you want? How far would you go for that? When we look at the sort of defensive energy of this, don't feel like you have to explain yourself to everybody. This card is actually reversed, and it's saying, I don't have to fight about like proving who I am or saying what I want because I know myself. So pick and choose the moments where you feel like, okay, this is worth my time and energy. This is something that I have to defend. And I think that's going to be so key. All right. So really nice messages across the board. Let's go ahead now and move on to the blessings and the blocks, which is something that I really enjoy looking at. Actually, before we do that, I usually like to pull a big idea card. So let's take a half step back and do the big idea. The big idea is a chance for us to just see sort of how this all connects. So let's do the big idea first, and then we'll go to blessings and blocks. All right, so your big idea right now is that it's decision time. We've got the Two of Swords here on the sort of beach here, or on the pier, I guess, and right in front of basically a vast opportunity. We can kind of look at the ocean in that perspective. So sometimes we look at the Two of Swords and it can look daunting. I look at the Two of Swords as an opportunity to simply take action. You're not always going to get something laid out in black and white. This is the way or this isn't the way. You have what you need. If you want to get a little bit more clarity, get it. But usually with the Two of Swords, indecision can lead to stagnation. Movement leads to change. You have enough to make that move in the right direction, so make the move in the right direction. Once you start to do that, if we look at the title on this card, it says peace. Finding inner peace with not being able to control, know, or see everything in front of us, right? I think that if you can do that, you're going to feel a lot better. It's going to start to feel like, all right, I did everything that I could. I prepared all that I possibly could, and I'm okay with whatever this might bring me. And I think that research can only take you so far. You're going to have to just listen to your heart. So listen to your heart, take the first step, all right? Now, let's move on to the blessings and the blocks. Blessings and blocks are two things that we can embrace, and then maybe one thing that we can embrace, one thing that we might want to walk away from. So let's take a look at these and see what's coming through for you. All right, so one blessing, one block. We basically got the dandelion here. So the blessing is movement, the Fool. The block is judgment, but judgment was reversed. So let's talk about this. And this is, I'll take it. This is almost the World card, very close. All right, so we'll start with the blessing here. So movement's already happened. We see a very busy, slightly dizzy Fool on this one because they're kind of caught up in everyone else's thoughts and everyone else's energy. And I think the important thing for you is to keep on moving. So we see like a tiger and a butterfly and a crocodile and all this sort of energy around the Fool. Movement and change can sometimes elicit quite a response in people around you. Why did you do that? Are you sure you want to do that? Have you thought this through? And what this can do for you is create a sense of panic or dread. I don't know. Am I ready? Did I do everything? Should I be following this through? What's going on? So this is saying, take a deep breath. It's a fresh start. It's a new beginning. And everything at the beginning can be a little bit, not necessarily messy, but it's not all clear. We learned our message from the big idea card, which was, you've thought this through enough. You can also block things out. This is the one time that I'm going to say it's okay to kind of just not listen, because Two of Swords can be caught in the ear or blindfolds, tuning it out. So on this sort of energy, because the card's reversed and it's just sort of saying like, don't lose time, don't lose track of what you're trying to do, and don't let those people get into your headspace. We've all been there. So you've decided to do it, okay? That's the blessing. It's your choice. The block on this one is self-doubt, and you already know what you want to do. So judgment upright. basically another phoenix sort of energy. It's literally people rising from the dead and having a chance to live again. That's usually what you see in this card. Figuratively speaking, what this is about is rising from the ashes here and saying, all right, I could keep doing this, but I'm not going to do this anymore. And it's also from a decision point saying, I know that this would be a dead end, so I know I need to go in this direction. Deciding to follow through on that inner knowing is hard. It's like, I know I should do this. Why am I not doing this? Possibly because people are buzzing around you and trying to get in your head. So I would say don't second guess yourself. Don't give too much energy or weight to others. We don't want to ignore people altogether, but unless every single person in your life is saying, take a step back, you're always going to have one or two people that doesn't understand movement, right? Or change. When I change things up here, there's always one comment saying, I miss the old way. But you got to keep moving forward. Otherwise, it's always the same old, and it gets boring for all of us, right? So focus on movement, trust yourself, and only if 99% of everyone around you is saying the same thing, then you need to listen. But if it's just one or two naysayers and the bulk of the people are supportive, then you're probably on the right track. If you're doing something right, there's always going to be a little bit of mixed emotion around that, okay? Good. Let's go ahead now, and we're going to go to the viewer's choice. This is a chance for you to weigh in. So give me a moment here while I take a look at all the cards, and I'm going to put a few things up for consideration for you to kind of like say, hey, let's take a look at this. All right, give me just a moment here. And as I'm looking at all the options in front of me, what I'm looking at here is I really want to look at what we just talked about. I think that's a really cool thing. So first of all, viewer's choice. This will only be available while live and only on desktop or mobile, not on console and not on replay. All right, first thing is I'm going to ask a question that we kind of know the answer, but it's sort of like, should I trust myself because of the Judgment and the Fool card in reverse? I think what we're going to do is like how to trust myself. How do I trust myself? All right, so that's question one because that's what I would see with these two cards. The other thing that I'm seeing here is how to discuss things that are bothering you because of the Five of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. So how do I share my hopes and dreams? Great question. And then looking at just relationships across the board, I do see this sort of imbalance. So how to balance relationships. So while you vote on those, what I'm going to read rather is why we only got the Five of Pentacles. I always like to see a little bit more abundance. So if I get a low abundance card or if I get one that shows a lack of confidence or whatever, then I will focus on trying to bring that into a better place. So let's go ahead now and just shuffle the cards for a moment. And my reader's choice is to focus on bringing more balance to that Five of Pentacles. Ooh, I like what I see. All right, so for this one, we actually got the Magician card, which is so positive. Let's pull the card upright. So the Magician card is saying, you have the potential to move this in any direction that you want. If you continue to believe, I'm not worth it, then you manifest, I'm not worth it. If you start to ask for things that you believe that you're worth, then the universe starts to open it up for you. You are the creator. And I talked to another sign this month about the Magician and how powerful it is. With the Magician in reverse, there's an element of disbelief. We're in a retrograde as I'm reading this, and we'll be out of it mid-February. But what I want you to kind of look at is what's possible rather than what's not possible. So focus on the possibilities, march to the beat of your own drum, and trust that that spark, that energy that we saw here is not only going to happen, but it's your divine right to see this come to fruition. So if you believe in it, in yourself, and if you kind of put it out there, you're going to start to see positive movement here. And this is true no matter where you're at. So let's say you're a small business person and you notice a dip in sales due to, we've had like lack of travel, and there's been closures. There's been a lot of stuff on a global perspective, and just the delay in goods and services. So you're going to try and find or make a different channel for some of the commerce to happen. We saw this a couple years ago with restaurants that had to do a lot more with deliveries and takeaway or takeout. And so evolving, changing, moving. That's what's going to be important here. You can't keep doing what you were doing. As long as you try different things, then you're going to be pleasantly surprised by what comes through. All right, let's take a peek at what's going on with you. All right, looks like we have a very clear winner here. How do I trust myself? Good question. Let's take a look and see what the answer is for that. It was like 50, 30, 20, so I feel pretty good that nothing else is going to pop up on this. But let me just shuffle, and then we'll take a look at this confidence. We kind of talked about this, but we're looking more at like self-confidence versus money. All right, let me double check. So yes, 50% of you asked for how do I trust myself. So thank you for that vote. I think you chose a really great option there. All right. This could be from things that came through in the past. This could just be from something in the present where you're just not feeling as strong as you used to be. I feel like the universe is laughing and just kind of answering in different ways the same sort of restating things. So we have a King of Swords in reverse. And the King of Swords in reverse is saying just say it. Just start speaking. Just act too. Trusting yourself. I believe that the most important thing that you can do is to take a positive move or action this month toward what it is that you want, and also use that magic 2-letter word, no. Also the 3-letter one, yes. Choose the things that you want and say no and push back to the things that you don't want. Using your voice. So the most important thing here, we have Ace of Swords crossing that card. We had in the Wealth card, this Sacred Self that's talking about opening up the throat chakra. We actually have a voice activation here in relationships. So no less than 4 voice cards. And now this as well. So speak up and make it quick. Like sometimes we feel like we have to say a lot of things, but you don't. It can be very simple. 3 words, I love you, or I need space, or no, or yes. Short, succinct sentences can accomplish quite a bit. So use your words, keep it short, you'll be surprised. And like the genie in the bottle metaphor that I was talking about, ask clearly without over-explaining. So if you want to negotiate for something, like a job, and or if you're already at the table and the pay is not where it needs to be, then this is saying this isn't competitive. And this, if they're focusing on one little thing in the past, just say, but that's not consistent. This is my best and final, or this is really where I'd like to see it. So go sharpen the pencil and come back to me. I'm interested in the job, but we have to do better. Don't sort of like walk out. Just say, we can come closer. This isn't close enough. So push a little bit. Obviously, if it's been 2 or 3 times, or if they say that's their final, then you have to just decide, is it enough? That's one thing that happens sometimes when it isn't good enough, you walk away. But don't put yourself in a position where you really needed that. You can always take that and then use that as a stepping stone to the next place. But try to get as much as you can. And when you speak with authority. And that comes through practice. So don't ask, if you're asking for something, but you're really stating it, which is what a negotiation can be, you want to speak in a declaration rather than a questioning voice. So it shouldn't be like, is this how much I'm worth? It's like, this is how much I'm worth. Because of this, and this. And because I did the research. So I've noticed, I was listening to the radio, there are some states in the US, not all, because the United States is crazy that way, but where they have to list the price. I think it was in New York, maybe, where now they have to list the salaries. I think that should be the way it is. You should know what you're going for and what the range is before you go in. It's not like buying a car. So you should know what the job pays. And it should be the same for men and women. So anyway, if you believe that you deserve something, even if you're not in a country, state, or province that has that sort of openness, just do your research and step in and ask for it. So I think for a lot of us, it could be that. In a relationship, it's saying this doesn't work anymore. I don't want that, etc. Okay, so speak up. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look now at we're going to go into the meditation portion next, because we just do a quick little check of everything that we've talked about. We've done the channel messages, Celtic Cross, expanded forecast, big idea, blessings and blocks. Yep, we got through it all. So let's talk about the next portion of this. Before I do, I only do this a couple of times, so just a quick reminder, if you liked any part of this and you've been a long-time viewer but you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you've been watching this and haven't hit the thumbs up once, hit it once. Both of those you can only hit once, to subscribe once in a lifetime. So please help me out. That really does improve the health of this channel. Some people are saying, like, I'll read and they're like, I've watched forever, but I never liked or subscribed. And I thought to myself, why? That's like going to a restaurant and not paying or saying thank you. So if you can help, it doesn't cost anything and it helps a lot. I appreciate it. You can join me on social as well for reminders in case you don't want Google to do that or you prefer to kind of like consume it elsewhere. I also put teasers, like I said, and you can give back here through memberships. And I get a lot of questions about, what's your schedule? Where's the cards? You can just go to my website and all the information's on my website. Okay, enough with all of that. Let's talk about the last piece, which is going to be your meditation. The meditation, we have two parts here. We're going to meditate, and then I'm going to look at your final question. So before we get into that final question, scribble it down on a piece of paper or tap it into your phone so you can remember it. And I'm going to give you a chance to vote on the type of instrument that I play here for the meditation. For today, we're going to be doing the Phoenix. We're going to rise from the ashes. We're going to use the energy of fire to help you kind of like spark your next dream or your next goal here. So let me go ahead and give you a chance to vote on which instrument. This only takes about 2 minutes, so stick around if you can. The bonus is I'll answer a question for you afterwards. So we can do the singing bowl, or we can take the crystal pyramid as well and play that. Okay, so whichever one you like, you have a chance now to vote. Okay, so let's go ahead now and focus on setting up the meditation. So I'd love for you to just take a deep breath, close your eyes, relax, and imagine yourself kind of like what we saw on the Magician card here, which I'll pull up for a second, that it's nighttime, maybe that you're like right by the beach like this person is, and there's a fire in front of you. I want you to imagine that as you're looking into the fire, you just feel this sense of warmth, familiarity, safety, and it's like you're connecting to your highest possible self, the best version of you. And looking into the flames, you actually start to, it's almost like gazing into a scrying mirror or a crystal ball. You see the sparks dance in certain ways, and you start to see some energy, some information, it's almost like a map of what's possible come through. And I want you to imagine that your physical body, you're sitting cross-legged on the beach, but your spiritual self, that sort of light body, stands up and walks through the fire. And as you walk through the fire, you feel this sort of influx of power, especially the lower chakras. So your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus are all lit up with fire, with energy. And as you breathe and as you move that energy through the rest of you. And you start to feel like you have these fiery wings, just like a phoenix. And the light body, the sort of energetic portion of yourself now, has the capacity and has the ability to rise up. So I want you to look at whatever in your life might have constituted a tower moment. So if there was a breakup, if there was a lost job, if there was a disappointment, whatever it is that you wish you could have changed, I want you to see it fading away. And I want you to see now this sort of energy, almost like a dragon. You could breathe forward this energy and create and mold and shape. So I want you to step into the affirmative, the positive, the proactive, the sort of active statements, I am, I will, energy, and imagine what it is that you are or that you will be doing soon. Okay? And as you do that, I'm going to be playing the singing bowl for you. So just sit back, relax, and call into existence, just like a magical dragon, whatever it is that you want. Imagine that you're conjuring it up and that you're going to move through that energy. Remember to breathe as I play the singing bowl and just relax. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, I want you to really feel all the power and energy surround you, and also breathe it into your future. Imagine that you're paving this beautiful fiery path towards whatever it is that you want to see happen. Feel your power, feel your energy, feel your potential, and understand now that you are on that path, that you are capable of doing what you need to do, okay? And see now that instead of the Two of Swords, you have a very clear vision of who you are, what you want, and where you're going. When you're ready, open your eyes. Feel that sense of power and empowerment as you step through today, tomorrow, and beyond. And I want you now to think about whatever question you might have in your heart, in your soul, and I'm going to take a look at this, okay? So this is your final card, final question. Just meditate on it, and we'll see where it brings us. Really good energy here. We've got the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Wands is in reverse. So the Ten of Wands, let's just pull the card in the upright position. There's a lot that many of you are carrying in the sort of crown chakra area, because this card we see everything being balanced around the head. Normally this would be a card that would show up where you're carrying the load on your shoulders or your back. So for some of you, the mental stress, the mental fatigue, just the persistent thoughts in your head definitely are coming up loud and clear on this one. The good news is this is a card of completion. So whatever you're really stressing or trying to finish and work towards, I do see a very affirmative and positive outcome here. So the end is in sight. And for some of you, this, if you're asking, should I move? This is a moving card or a traveling card. I would say with the Ten of Wands, there's always a benefit to making sure that you go ahead and check something out before you do it. So this would be taking a trip before making that big decision or move. But I like what I see here. And then not sort of dropping the ball at that final leg of the race or the journey, because it does feel like the goal is very much attainable and within sight. So for yes, no's, it's a yes, don't give up. For general sort of, should I move or should I stay? This is a moving card. For relationships, this is also about not being pressured or pressuring someone else, because the Ten of Wands in reverse is way too much pushing. So don't allow someone to push you, and don't be pushy. And overall, I see just really great kind of period coming after the next month or two. So the Ten of Wands takes a little bit of time to unwind, but based on everything that we looked at, including the beautiful dandelion earlier, which was showing death and rebirth, it's your choice right now. It feels like you're right on the precipice of change and growth. So across the board, it's great. Okay, really like what I see for you. Hope you enjoyed today. I certainly did enjoy reading for you. I want to take a couple minutes to say thanks to everybody. A reminder again of my schedule. Let me take a quick look at my website and I'll tell you what's upcoming. So obviously I read for you today. Tomorrow I'll be doing Sagittarius, and then I'll do the Sunday Collective on Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And then next week it's Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. Let me just give you a quick link to my schedule in case you want to kind of view this for later. So here we go. And here's the link if you need it. And I'll paste that and pin it just so you can view it right now. So feel free to follow me there. Actually, again, like I said before, if you would like reminders of what's coming up, you know how to do it. Just hit that subscribe and opt into notifications as well. And social media for little clips and reminders. And now I'm going to say thanks to everybody that gave back here. So before I do that, I want to give gratitude across the board. If you're brand new and you just discovered me, welcome. Please let some other people know about this. I don't always get served up in the YouTube algorithm, but you can help by engaging with this video on replay. So give me a comment actually when this is on replay and let people know. Tag someone if you want to. All right. Also, I want to say welcome back to all of my longtime subscribers. I'm sorry I have to keep mentioning, subscribe for all of you that have been with me since like 2015. I appreciate it. And for all the longtime channel members, thank you for allowing for all the upgrades that you see around me. You make it possible, and I couldn't have done it without you. And same thing for the Patreon supporters. And now for the new folks, I want to kind of give a shout out to anybody that's brand new. So give me a moment, and then we will wrap up for today. All right, so I'll start first with any new members that I noticed within the past day. And let's take a look at the new members. Okay, so looks like we have a couple here that rejoined today. So Alan, I can't quite pronounce your last name, but Alan, thank you so much Rebecca Carlson, welcome, brand new member. FC, welcome back. Lucy T, welcome. Izzy Pescadero, I think, welcome. Let's see, and then I think these are the last two, Daria and Cynthia. Thank you so much for all of you. Again, whether you're coming back or this is your first time joining, appreciate it, and I put it all right back into the channel. In fact, you'll have a chance to vote on the weekend too for the topics, so keep an eye out for that. All right, now for anybody that gave back with a super sticker or super chat, I just want to give you a little bit of a shout out right now. Starting off with Ang Mont, thank you so much for kicking things off. Let's see, Jacqueline, I think, thank you so much. Sunny, Spirit, Amber, Hoku, Myra, Supriya, Lily, and Eileen. Thank you to all of you for giving back a little bit today. I do appreciate your contribution. And it looks like we got a final, yeah, I think, I don't know if I said welcome to Rebecca, but welcome to you as well as the new channel member. So that's everyone and everything for today. I'm wishing all of you just a lovely end of this week and good luck if you're watching this in February. Again, we're seeing a lot of changes and a lot of shifting of energy. So until I see you again, hopefully tomorrow, take care of yourselves. And in the meantime, just be happy. Try to be happy and try to be grateful. And Apollo also wishes you a lovely day. He's taking a nap behind us. All right, guys, thanks so much. Bye-bye for now.